Alright, so I'm tearing down my $150 motor, and I realized I haven't done a video on how to rebuild heads, how to tear them down, and honestly, I've got this down to a really efficient process. And I want to share it with you because it's one of these things that some people take this to machine shop and have them do it because they're scared of dealing with this, and it's fidgety, it's a pain in the butt sometimes, but once you get it down, it's easy. This head I already went through and I stripped all the studs out and stuff. There were a bunch of studs on the exhaust manifolds. Pulled all those out, got some broken bolts out of the intake side. Pipe wrench, handy tool for getting out broken studs if you have enough left. But anyways, I've got this tool here, and you can buy this in any parts store. You can buy them from Summit, whatever. If you notice, I pinched the end so it'll work on the beehive valve springs, the later beehives. I've put beehive valve springs on the small block Chevy heads before, and I had to pinch these in a little bit, and it works, kind of. It still works well on these. This is my trick. Before I even started, I fogged it down with PB Blaster. That gets things penetrating, gets things loosening up. Some of this stuff's going to be sticky. Then, you take your rubber mallet, and on these pistons here, you don't want to hit the valve, not the pistons. What am I thinking? It's a little hot out here. On these valves here, you don't want to smack the valve, you want to smack the retainer in the spring. Just give it a little tap, and that gets the keepers loosened up a little bit. Take your retaining tool, put a washer on top of it before you put this nut down, because you're going to tighten down a ways, and you want that nut to be free whenever you go take it loose. Now, if you just barely put it on like that, you're losing most of your leverage. You're not going to be able to get it pressed far enough. You want to run that nut down a ways. Then what you're going to do, you take a rolled up sock. I have plenty of these in my rag bin, and you're going to stuff it underneath the valve. And it's okay if the head doesn't rest against the table. And you want to have a nice sturdy table for doing this. Rest your elbow comfortably and pull on that, and you'll see the keeper come up out of the spring. So, whichever keeper's closest to you, you grab with a magnet. You get a little pick, you rotate the other keeper around, magnet it out, take your 9/16 wrench and loosen that nut up. Leave the nut on a little bit, because that washer is going to want to pop loose. There you go. That's how you get your valve out. Easy, easy. You saw how quick that was. I've just started half an hour ago, and I'm almost done with the second head. Easy to do. Don't spend money having a machine shop do this for you. It's easy to do. And later on, I'll shoot a video on putting it back together. My biggest tip on putting them back together: put a dab of grease inside these keepers to get them down in there. Have you ever heard the term getting a zipper on it? There are some jobs that seem really difficult, and then if you work on it at them enough, you find ways to make the job a lot faster. And so if you take something that's normally a 4-hour job and you get your process down to an hour, that's known as getting a zipper on it. Because basically once you have a job like that lined up, you walk out, you unzip it, switch out your parts, zip it back up, and you're done. And that was the term we used when I worked in an auto dealership, and it fits. It's really fairly descriptive of this. I've got a zipper on disassembling and reassembling small block Chevy heads. Not something I ever thought I would have. It just, I've played with a few of them now, and they're really, really easy once you understand the ways to get them apart and back together. Okay, so I got the last valve free. The next part, easy. Stand it on the end and feel the end of your valves. This one's got a little bit of mushrooming. This one doesn't. It just pulls right out. They keep the valve seals. This engine, for some reason, has half umbrella, half positive. The umbrella valve seals just pop off. The positive seals sometimes pop off, sometimes don't. You get a wrench on them or a screwdriver, you can just pry them off like that. Real easy. So for your valves that have a lip on them, if you try pull, well, Okay, that one pulled out. If they have a mushroom head, if you've got one that's got a burr on it, you try to pull it out, you can gouge the valve guide. So if you've got some emery cloth handy, I highly recommend buying a roll of emery cloth, having it on hand. I just realized I'm not even filming this, am I? If you've got some emery cloth, emery the end of that valve before you go to pull it out. It may take a couple minutes work. That'll keep you from gouging that valve guide. Now, if you're building your motor cheap, you're going to want to save all these parts. Now, valves to me aren't like lifters. I don't keep them separate. I don't keep them with the original valve seat. But whenever I do clean them up, I'm basically going to take a wire wheel to these and clean them all over. When I go to put them back in the head, I'm going to lap them into the seats, and that way they'll seal really well. I'm not going to do a 3-angle valve job. I don't have the tools for that here, but I am going to clean them up, lap them in, they'll work fine. So save yourself some money. I do prefer replacing valve springs if I'm rebuilding a motor. I like replacing valve springs because they are the most likely component to break here. And they wear out with age, and when they break, it trashes your motor. Some other components, like your rocker arm, if a rocker arm stud pulls out or a rocker arm breaks, that valve's just not going to open in the first place. It's not going to crash into a piston. So I do prefer replacing valve springs. These here are double valve springs. You've got the inside spring and the outside spring. I'll roll with these. They're not bad. I'll reuse them, especially knowing the engine doesn't have as much time on it as if you had an engine out of a car. Having been a boat motor, it didn't get used as much. So I think I'm fine with reusing all this valve cover stuff.